The weekend trip wasn't supposed to change anything. It was just meant to be a short break from filming. A chance for the cast and crew to bond in the quiet mountains outside Chiang Mai, where the forests stretched endlessly and the skies felt too big. But from the moment they left the city, something in the air felt different. Namwan handed out room assignments with her usual dramatic flair, but Tawan froze when he unfolded his paper. Shared room. Tawan, Sila, Feu. His chest tightened. Out of all the possible pairings, of course it had to be them. Feu didn't react. He never did. His silence was always louder than words. Jane squealed, clapping like she was watching a live drama unfold. The fan gods are working overtime on this one. Tawan forced a smile, but his stomach was already twisting. He hadn't even looked at Sila yet. He couldn't. Then, another voice cut through the group. One he hadn't heard in a long time. "I came," June said, standing there with her suitcase. "I figured you'd need someone who remembers who you were before all of this." Tawan stared at her, caught off guard. "You always show up when I don't ask." She smiled soft, knowing, a little sad. That's the point. As the vans made their way into the hills, the city faded behind them. Tawan sat in the second row, squeezed between Feu and Sila. Too close, too quiet. He watched the trees blur past, but his thoughts stayed sharp. They dragged him back to a night years ago. Feu's arms around him, whispering things that felt like promises but never became the truth. Then his mind shifted to Sila, how he gently grabbed his wrist when he tripped on set last week. Sila never said much, but his silence felt different. Softer, safer. The lodge appeared late in the afternoon, tucked into the trees, mist curling around its wooden roofs. It looked untouched by the outside world. Inside, they were greeted by Win, Sila's cousin, a photographer who always saw too much. His camera was already snapping pictures as the crew unloaded their bags. Click, Sila watching Tawan. Click, Feu watching Sila watching Tawan. Click, June looking away before anyone saw the sadness in her eyes. Tawan barely noticed. His chest was already tight. That night, they all gathered around a campfire, wrapped in sweaters, laughing softly. The flames flickered, casting shadows across their faces. Tor strummed his guitar, and the night settled like a memory. Ning sat beside Feu, handing him a scarf. "You look like someone who used to know how to smile." Feu sighed. "I still do. Not the way he does," she murmured, nodding toward Tawan. Feu didn't argue. He couldn't. As the fire crackled, Jane clapped her hands, tipsy from cider. "Let's play a game. Say one regret. Just one sentence. No explanations." The group hesitated, curious. Tawan spoke first, quieter than usual. "I regret not holding on." Sila glanced at him. Feu stared at the ground. "I regret walking away without turning around," Feu said. All eyes turned to him. "I regret thinking silence could protect me," Sila added, gaze low. The fire crackled in the silence that followed. Mek let out a dry laugh. "We're all just cowards, huh?" Jane's smile faded. Even she could feel the weight in the air. Later, Tawan stood by the lake, staring at the water. Win approached, camera still in hand. "You all right?" he asked. Tawan sighed. "Not really." Win lifted his camera but hesitated, lowering it again. "Some things don't belong in photos." Tawan glanced at him. "Then where do they go?" Win didn't answer. He just stepped closer, shifting the air between them. "You're hard to capture," Win finally said, "especially when you're trying so hard to disappear." Tawan blinked. "I'm not trying to be seen." Win smiled slightly. "Exactly." The shared room was dim, rain tapping against the window. Tawan, Sila, and Feu lay on their mattresses, all facing different directions, none asleep. The silence felt heavier than ever. Then Feu spoke, voice rough in the dark. "If I said I wanted to start over, would it matter?" Tawan didn't move. "Depends. Are you still going to run the moment things get hard?" Feu swallowed. "No." "Then why didn't you stay before?" Silence. Sila's breathing was steady but tense. He hadn't said anything all night. Then, finally, his voice broke through the quiet. You don't get to ask him for something unless you're ready to give everything. Tawan turned toward Sila in the darkness. Suddenly, the rain outside felt louder. The room felt smaller. The space between them too full. He didn't respond. None of them did. But something had changed. Tawan knew it. He just didn't know what it meant yet.